Hello everybody and welcome back to Carried Away Travels. In this week's video, I'm going to clue you in onto my entire week-long Puerto Rico itinerary that's going to let you explore the best of what the island has to offer. Now I'm going to clue you guys into a little secret. If you visit Puerto Rico and you never leave San Juan, you are missing out on some of the best things you will ever see. Puerto Rico has so many incredible hidden gems, but so many people visit and they never even think to visit them because they just stay in San Juan and the tourist area. But if you are willing to leave the city, if you're willing to drive a little bit, if you have a sense of adventure, you are going to be able to discover so many incredible things that the majority of people miss out on. So today I want to give you my 8-day road trip, including the day you land and the day you leave, that is going to take you all around the island, from rainforest waterfalls and pink salt flats to wild beaches, epic snorkeling, and some truly off the beaten path towns. It's perfect for active travelers, adventure lovers, and really anyone who's looking to see Puerto Rico like a local. So here's how I'm going to break it down. I'm going to walk you through everything that we did each day, where we stayed, what tours we took, and what I wish I had known beforehand so you can avoid making any of the same mistakes that I did. Plus, I'm going to give you some tips for renting a car, booking tours, and navigating the Puerto Rican roads, which can be kind of an adventure in and of themselves. Now, just a quick note, this is actually part of a much larger Puerto Rico series that I'm right in the middle of, where I am breaking down tips and reviews on tours, visiting Puerto Rico in general, places we stayed. There is a lot more information that you can dive into that I have already created and that I will be creating. So if you are interested in learning more about pretty much anything that I'm going to talk about today, be sure to go back through the videos I've already done. And make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you can know whenever I post a new video, not just for this series, but I hope that you'll stick with me and stay tuned because I share helpful travel tips, itineraries, gear recommendations, and more for wherever we visit. So if that sounds like the kind of content that you want to see more of on your feed, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss a thing. Let's kick this video off with some information about renting a car in Puerto Rico because you will need a dependable vehicle in order to do this itinerary. Personally, I highly recommend a compact SUV because the roads here can get so narrow, especially in the cities and the mountains, but some of the best stops are going to be up steep hills or down rough dirt roads, not to mention there's potholes and all sorts of other things where you really are going to want more of an SUV or a truck that's not too big. I would also recommend that you avoid booking through any third-party sites. I made the mistake of booking through, I believe it was Expedia, which is normally very good for me, but when we got to the car rental place, they literally doubled the charges with hidden fees and all the stuff they said was mandatory. It was just overall a really poor experience with new rentals, so I do not recommend them. I would say stick to one of the larger, more well-known brands that you've had a good experience with, and in general, you are gonna have to expect to pay like $200 to $400 for your car for this trip, but again, you'll be using it for 8 days. One other note regarding vehicles is to make sure that wherever you stay includes parking. A lot of the hotels in cities or sometimes even like Airbnb stays do not have parking, and so you're just going to have to find a spot somewhere, which can be really hard, especially in like Ponce or San Juan. So double check your listing before you book to make sure you will have a place to park the car for the evening. All right, so day one is all about getting into San Juan, grabbing your rental car, and settling in. We were able to stay just outside Old San Juan in this cute little Airbnb with great amenities. It was called a Cool Trippers room. Absolutely loved the vibe. It was this cute little suite. It even had a hammock in the lobby area, and there's a lot of cool community features. So definitely recommend that one. And once you're settled in, I would suggest that you spend your evening just wandering around the colorful streets of San Juan. It is a little bit touristy, but there's a reason that a lot of people want to check it out. Some of my favorite spots were Plaza Colón, which is where they had the I Heart SJ sign, and there was actually a couple there that had a bunch of parrots you could pose with. La Calle de Fortaleza is another beautiful street to walk down, and that is actually going to lead you to the waterfront, where there's a gorgeous boardwalk that you can walk down, and then you can see one of the old fortresses up there and the Puerta de San Juan. It's a big gate. Like, there's just so much to see in this area. And of course, there's shopping and restaurants. So there's plenty to keep you occupied. For dinner, I do recommend you check out Juana La Loca. Their menu was absolutely phenomenal and the vibes were so cool. We had it all to ourselves on a Wednesday night, but I guess it gets pretty lively on the weekends with live music and more people. But that was one of our favorite meals. Day 2 is going to be an action-packed adventure. So make sure you get a good night's rest. You're going to start with a hike in El Yunque National Forest, which is about an hour away from San Juan. You can explore on your own, but I really recommend you book a guided tour like we did. It included a natural water slide, cliff jumping, rope swinging, and of course hiking through this gorgeous rainforest. Plus, it was like $33 per person. It was absolutely worth every penny and one of my favorite things we did on the entire trip. So that was a strong start. After your hike, I recommend you dry off and then head over to the Luquillo kiosks, which are like these 60 small open air shops and restaurants that you can browse through. They have such a great variety of items, and it's just a really fun place to explore right on the water too. The backside of these have these incredible waterside views. And once you're done exploring the Luquillo kiosk, I would recommend you go check into your hotel or Airbnb and grab a power nap, because tonight you are going to explore one of Puerto Rico's 3 bioluminescent bays, specifically the Laguna Grande, which is the only bioluminescent lagoon in the world. You can book a 2-hour kayaking tour, and it is incredible to see the waters lighting up. It's just such a cool experience that you really can't find many other places in the world. Now, you're going to have one more push here, which you might be a little tired for, but on day 3, while you're over in this area, you need to take a snorkeling tour at Vieques Island. Like, absolute must. I would have loved to have spent at least an entire day over here, but we ended up booking a morning tour that was so perfect with pure adventure. This company took us right out to Vieques Island to Playa Punta Arenas, and there's this amazing coral reef there where you can swim with all these tropical fish. The water's really shallow, so it's just offshore. We did that for about an hour, and then they had this mid-morning meal for us, which was so good. And then they let us into deeper waters where we saw even more fish and sea turtles and just all kinds of cool stuff. It was such an amazing tour, so I highly recommend that. And then afterwards, they just kept filling us up with snacks and drinks. All the beverages were included, and they had like fun candy and desserts and stuff as well. So they really give you a lot for this specific tour package. We booked that through Viator. I thought that was amazing. After lunch, you are going to hit the road for a mountain drive to Ponce, which is in like the middle south coast of Puerto Rico. And that may sound like it's a really long drive from the like northeast coast, but it really only takes like 2 hours, and it is a beautiful drive. Some of the roads are winding and narrow, but the views are absolutely peak. And I do recommend you take a short detour to La Curva de Arbol, which is a tree swing that is overlooking this gorgeous valley. It just has these beautiful views, and if you're lucky, you might even see a couple horses grazing nearby, just roaming free like we did. It takes about 5-10 extra minutes to stop here versus just going straight to Ponce, so it's totally worth it. Now, when you get to Ponce, I would recommend you immediately check into your hotel so you can get your valuables out of your car and you can get your car parked. I highly recommend choosing something close to Plaza Las Delicias, which just has some really cool things to explore nearby. There's an old firehouse museum, and there's these cool buildings, and there's other museums and shops and things nearby. Plus, this area is very well patrolled by local police officers once things get dark, so we felt like it was a very safe area to explore. So we actually stayed at the Fox Hotel, which is this old theater that they renovated into a hotel. It's got some really cool vibes. All of the artwork is like super colorful and vibrant, quirky. There's an arcade inside, and they have all of these little kiosks for like local food vendors to have little pop-up restaurants. Like it's really interesting and it is right on that plaza. My only complaint would be like the bed wasn't super comfortable and we couldn't get hot water. But unfortunately, the water thing kind of seems to be a universal issue. We only had a couple hotels where we actually had like good hot water. So I think that might just be something you kind of have to expect. And for dinner, you have to check out Endless Papas. It is this little food truck that had insanely good reviews. So we decided to check it out. Did not regret it at all. We got this massive burrito that was filled with like plantains and mashed potatoes, beef, lettuce, tomato, cheese. It was huge. They also do like covered fries and bowls and all sorts of different stuff. But it was so good. The guy promised us each half was going to be the size of a hamburger. And it was like we got this ginormous burrito. It weighed so much, but we both got a full meal for like 12 bucks. Day 4 is going to be slower paced, but scenic. So I would recommend you start your morning with a swim at the Salto Coyores waterfall, which is about 30 minutes away from Ponce. It is privately owned. You can go onto this property. You pay $10 for parking and you can stay as long as you want. It is a beautiful 30-foot waterfall that goes into this little pool. There's fish in there and then it just cascades down into the river. It is so much fun and it's one of those spots that a lot of tourists miss, but it is just so gorgeous and authentic to what Puerto Rico has to offer because it hasn't been ruined by tourists. After that, I recommend beach hopping along the south coast. There are so many cool beaches you can check out, but a lot of people don't visit here because the beaches are rocky, but that doesn't mean they're not worth visiting. There's still plenty of sand to enjoy your day and there's great snorkeling opportunities and such, but you won't have to fight with all the tourists. So I recommend checking out either Playa de Tamarindo or Playa Ballena. Playa de Tamarindo has this really cool aesthetic because you have to walk through these like coastal wetlands to get to the beach. There are trails, there's a boardwalk. We saw all sorts of lizards and water birds and big crabs before we got to the beach. So that's just a very different vibe. Just a few minutes down the road from that is Playa Ballena, and that actually has like 2 beaches separated by this big rock formation. Both beaches are great for swimming, there's snorkeling, you could kayak around there, but they're just very quiet and pretty much a place that only locals go. So you're gonna have plenty of space to stretch out, enjoy the sand, but you can also swim and do the non-motorized water sports as well. And if you have the time and energy for one more adventure before it gets dark, you should definitely go swing by the Cabo Rojo salt flats, Las Salinas. There is an interpretive center right nearby, but it closes at like 4 in the afternoon. But if you get there later, you can still go check out the salt flats. Just be really respectful to not walk on the salt. It really messes with the environment. They do have these walkways that you can go across and look for the pink salt, which is just so gorgeous. Not all of them are pink. It depends on weather and the microorganisms that are in the salt, but they have just such a cool look to them, especially when there's like a thin layer of water. They're very mirror-like, and it's just really interesting to see. And you're going to wrap up your day of activity with a 1-hour drive up to Aguadilla. It's a pretty straightforward drive. I recommend staying at the Bellinoni B&B. We absolutely loved it. We stayed in their cabana. It was so cute. It had a private walkway and seating area surrounded by all this lush foliage. The grounds are beautiful and they're fenced in, so you don't have to worry about trespassers or wild dogs or anything. There's a community pool that's just gorgeous. It was so beautiful. I really wish we could have stayed here another night because just for the price too, everything was so perfect. Kick off day 5 with a morning spent snorkeling at Tres Palmas Reserve. We went on a guided tour for $50-ish per person, and we saw coral reefs with these giant elkhorn coral. There were so many tropical fish. We also saw a sea turtle, terrapins, and even a nurse shark. It was just a fantastic morning. We saw so much in such a short amount of time. I highly recommend you go check that out, especially if you love snorkeling. This was just absolutely peak. After that, go ahead and spend some more time on a beach of your choice. There are a couple I would recommend you check out. First is Punta Borinquen Beach, which is just a few minutes away. This beach has plenty of space to spread out. It's set next to these really epic cliffs. There's plenty of parking, there's local food vendors there. And then just down this pathway, there's these trees bordering the beach. You can walk into the forest there and you'll find a lookout tower where you can look over the beach, and it is so pretty from up above. If you go a little bit farther down, you will actually find Spanish ruins from an old lighthouse from the 1800s. They're really cool to look at. They have just this really cool stonework from what's left of them. So that's fun if you want to kind of mix hiking and a beach day. Another one I would recommend is Surfers Beach, which, if you like surfing, is like a fantastic place to be. You can go there. The waves are pretty rough, so it's not a good swimming spot, but if you are looking for more of a water sport vibe, that's a great place for that. There is also a trail there that will lead you to Survival Beach, which is this remote, beautiful beach with all these cool rock formations. Again, the waves are a little too rough for swimming, but if you just want a place to be by yourself, this one's usually not crowded like at all. I would just put a note of caution that getting down to the parking for Surfers Beach is a little bit insane. The road's incredibly steep, and then once you get to the parking area, there are literally car-sized potholes. So you just need to be very conscientious of that and drive carefully. And then you are going to wrap up your afternoon with a horseback riding tour. I recommend Tropical Trail Rides in Isabela. They did such a fantastic job. I actually discovered them on Viator as well. They have a morning horseback riding, and then they have a 3:30. They both last around 2 hours, and the staff was just so great. They matched everyone with a horse based off of their size and experience, and there were quite a few people for that 3:30 booking, but they split us into 3 separate groups, so it did feel a little more intimate, and each guide could focus on their group. If you do want to save a little bit of money, you can actually book directly through the Tropical Trail Rides website. Email them and let them know that you're going to bring cash the day of, and you'll actually get a little bit of a discount versus booking directly online. After your horseback riding tour, I recommend driving a decent ways east along that northern coast to put yourself in a good position for a drive to the center of the island in the morning, heading towards Orocovis. We stayed at this beautiful hotel in Hatillo, which ended up being way nicer than we thought it was going to be. It was really modern, it was comfortable, and I just loved the design throughout the entire hotel. Day 6 is all about the adrenaline rush. If you are into zip lines and things like that, this is going to be your absolute paradise. You are going to head to Orocovis and visit Toro Verde Adventure Park, where you can spend the whole day flying across these lush Puerto Rican valleys way up in the mountains. I highly recommend you spend an entire day here just trying to do as many things as possible. If you can only fit in a couple, you definitely need to ride El Monstruo, which is the longest zip line in the United States. It literally lasts for like 2 minutes and you get up to like 90 miles per hour while you go across this amazing valley. It is so cool, and you fly Superman style, so you're on your stomach. There's also La Bestia, which is a very similar adventure, but it is shorter. They have a 2-hour zipline tour where you could zip back and forth from mountain to mountain and see all these beautiful views. They have Toro bikes, which are the longest zip line bikes in the world. They're literally rigged up to go across these like high wires while you pedal. Like, they're so cool. You can take tours of the property, which is just absolutely stunning. There's so much to do, so I would say do as much as you can and just really plan to spend the whole day enjoying this adventure park. If you do happen to wrap things up a little bit early, I would say head to Barranquitas, where you can do some really awesome hikes nearby. But this is where we're going to spend the evening. We booked this beautiful hotel right on the side of this mountain here. It had these incredible views. It was also really comfy. My biggest complaints here would be they didn't provide like any amenities, and the shower design was terrible because it got all over the floor. But like the location and the comfort was one of the top stays we had for the entire trip. Day number 7 is going to be all about hidden gems. So we started the day with a visit to Playa Punta del Viento, which is this beach reserve that's kind of tucked away down this 2-mile, 1-lane road, and it is the perfect spot to see some wildlife. It's got these cool rock formations and these tide pools right near the shore. We saw all sorts of tropical fish and crabs and mussels and barnacles. It was just such a cool place to explore. Plus, we pretty much had it to ourselves. There were only 2 other people on the beach. They were down there quite a ways fishing and swimming. And it's set in this absolutely gorgeous tropical setting with this border of palm trees and this mountain off in the distance. Like, it was such a beautiful place to explore. And then after that, we drove a few minutes down the road to Playa California, which we also had all to ourselves. And this was just like the idyllic long beach with these gorgeous blue waters, but it is also a turtle nesting site. So we got to see 2 turtle nests roped off there. So if you visit, make sure to keep an eye out for those nests for any turtles coming up on shore. This is one where you won't really do a lot of swimming. It is more for exploring or just laying out on the sand. It's a great place for long walks on the beach or tanning, but again, you're gonna have it all to yourself. When you're done here, head into Yabacoa, which has some really cool painted stairs. There's a couple towns in Puerto Rico that have these very vibrant stairs. These ones are just like 15 minutes away from Playa California. You can check those out. And then I recommend grabbing lunch at Dulce and Salao before you hit the road again and head to Punta Icacos Canyon. Now, this is actually at the back of a resort. This is more of just a beautiful view. If you're willing to take about a 15-minute easy stroll, you will find this beautiful canyon with this cool rock formation, these incredible blue waters, and then you can see the resort stretching off over the cliffs in the distance. It was one of my favorite views from the entire trip. When you got your fill of those views, head back into San Juan for one last night in the city. There are just so many different ways you can spend your evening in San Juan, so definitely soak it all in and enjoy it. For your final day, if at all possible, book an afternoon flight back to the mainland. I believe ours was around 2 o'clock. That gives you plenty of time to do some exploration in the morning. I would recommend that if you haven't already done it, you head over to explore the fortresses in Old Town San Juan. There are actually several, and when you purchase a ticket to one, you can visit like all of them in one day for like $10. We actually started our day with brunch at Cafe Ron, which had amazing tripletas and Mallorca grilled cheese. It was the perfect start to our day. And then we went to go visit Castillo San Felipe del Moro, which is like the bigger Spanish fortification there. It only takes a couple hours to explore tops, but it is such a cool place. It has really cool architecture. There's a lot of history, and it's also got these incredible views of the town and the water. So that's one of those must-dos when you're in San Juan. So I think that's a perfect way to wrap up your trip. One other note here, just a mistake we made that I don't want you to make, is once you find parking in the morning, do not move your car. We got a pretty decent parking spot right near that fortress, and then we decided to move thinking we would get closer to one of the other fortresses, and we ended up wasting an hour circling San Juan over and over and over again because every single lot was full, and the line to get into the lot we had left was up the road. So once you park, just walk. You may have to go 15 minutes at a time, but it is going to be better than wasting your last day because all the other tourists took the spot. From there, you're just going to drop off your rental car, head to the airport, and get ready to get on your flight home. And that is how I would recommend you spend 8 days road tripping around Puerto Rico. This gets you out of San Juan, away from the more touristy stuff, and really gives you an authentic taste of what Puerto Rico has to offer. Plus, you are going to have so much fun with all of these adventure activities. If you like nature, if you like being active, personally, this is way better than just spending 8 days crisping up on the beach. But I know everyone's a little different. But if you like adventure travel and just surrounding yourself with nature and beautiful views, Like, this is one of the best places to do it. I could not believe how much there was to do on such a small island, and we had so much fun trying to see as much of it as possible. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that it gave you all sorts of inspiration as you start planning your own Puerto Rico trip. If you do have questions, please feel free to drop those in the comments section below. And again, I have videos that I have already made and will be releasing very soon with even more information, so I would encourage you to check those out as well. And if you have been to Puerto Rico and you're thinking, Carrie, I can't believe you didn't include this spot on your list, please let me know, because I am open to suggestions for the next time I go to Puerto Rico. I'm already planning to go back because I loved it. And so if you have another like hidden gem or great spot to check out that's off the beaten track and where most tourists miss, please let me know. Let everyone else know down in the comments too, and just don't gatekeep that. I know I mentioned a lot of tours and hotels and such during this video as well, so I'm going to be including links to those down below just so you can have an easy guide to that. I would also encourage you to check out my full written blog post at cochranwriting.com. All of those links and information and such are going to be there as well if that's a little easier for you. Last but not least, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, save it for future reference, and don't forget to subscribe to Carried Away Travels so you never miss a new video. Don't forget to turn on notifications as well so they don't get lost in your feed. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I wish you many happy travels.